Hello my friends, it is spring 2022. Let's see, I am going to take us for a little ride. This is actually my commute home from the grocery store. I actually live in a real rural place, so I get to drive through really beautiful areas. What I'm noticing is that California is in a super bloom this year. Like, the flowers are blowing up. They are blowing up everywhere, everything. Not just in burn zones and fire zones, but like everywhere, and I know a lot of that is due to livestock activity. People have ramped up all of their pastoral behaviors, whatever you want to call it, because it's a good fire safe keeping, and so the flowers are exploding in all of the areas where there isn't grass. Grass is the competitor of flowers. And it's just a phenomenal year. It hasn't been the best water years, but it's just a phenomenal year. So what I wanted to do was take you on a drive from Middletown, California, which we've already left, down Butts Canyon and to the Snell Valley Flower Preserve and show you all the beautiful flowers that I can along the way. There's a lot more than I'll be able to show you, but I just wanted to give you a taste of the 20 minutes of the road ahead and how beautiful it is. So much going on, and if you're in the area, come check it out soon. Instantly, as you get out here, within a mile of turning off the road, you'll hit really open expanses of beautiful fields, pasture lands, flowers. The beginning of spring, it's way cooler out here. It's going to become a really hot area. We're actually here at the beginning of the Gwinnett Reservoir. Stretches off that way, and then you can see the amount of flowers out here is insane. So we have the blue that you're seeing is lupins, and then a tiny popcorn flower, which is like a white forget-me-not. And then the yellow background, and another shade of yellow. We'll get you close-ups of each of these. For about a 100-mile area that I've been driving in the last week or so, the lupins are exploding everywhere. Not just the flowers in general, but the lupins are out in waves between here and Berryessa. The poppies are going crazy. The wild peas are going crazy. But yeah, just the scope and the scale of that. And then you look directly across the road, and everywhere where there's a spring, these are the wet spots when it is dry. There's yellow flowers busting out. Lupins all alongside the roadside. And this is just the beginning. I'm just starting off here. These are just the regular cow pastures. We're heading to an actual flower preserve, which is noted as having the most variety of species still in all of California. That's actually on the road that I live on. So I get to watch it change seasonally. If you're lucky, you'll get to see some of these things multiple times in the same year, because flowers go in waves, about 2 weeks at a time. So one set will be completely replaced by another set. The lupins and these yellows will be gone, the calendula will be gone, and there'll be another wave and then another wave. This is a lucky year where we're getting multiple waves together. A little ways farther down the road here, there's other people out filming the flowers. You recognize this stretch by the white fences. It's all private property, of course. Just surreal colors. Those are beyond John Deere bright yellow green. In a landscape that is very arid and very scrubby. Digger pines and chaparral and such. This is the season of electric colors. A little further down the road, as you're about to drop into the Butts Canyon itself. Yes, that's its name, Butts Canyon. The crack of Butts Canyon is going to be this way. And these are the fields directly before it. The white fences have ended by now. They've went for about 2 miles. These fields, I don't know when you might be getting here. They are just now popping their poppies out, but they will go through in waves. Everything has different waves. There's about 10 different waves if you were paying attention. These are the very first ones, remembering that most of these have been sprouted in December, some of them in November, and they grew as little vegetated plants, and now they're coming to their flower and their tuition, to which they'll die, throw their seeds, and the next waves will come on. And that's really how the flowers share space. They all take up the same area of space, but just during different weeks of the season, basically. And that's why the grasses, what are called Spanish grasses, because a lot of the grasses that were introduced were from the early Spanish settlers. So they're referred to as the Spanish grasses, but basically the non-native grasses that came and took over California because most of it was developed into pasture land. They're heavy competitors with flowers. Flowers need basically open dirt, is the simplest way to explain it. They like bare open soil where they don't have to compete, whereas grass can pack in real close and survive like that. That's one of its natures, is it grows cylindrical and skinny and tall. And so the flowers who were here before are often overwhelmed just by the thickness of the grass, and they never see the light of day to sprout their seed again. So we have to go way out here to find some spots where the grasses just didn't happen to take over, or through fire, or certain animals have maintained their existence throughout all of the changes in the last 150 years. Whereas sheep and goats will eat everything down to the ground, horses will graze, will move along and graze, and that allows for more flower species and more abundance to survive in their footprint, is what I have noticed. Excuse the bugs on the windshield, we'll be dropping down the canyon now. This is a huge serpentine canyon for those rock hounders out there. You'll notice as you hit here that it's all huge serpentine exposure. As you head down the road, this is Butts Canyon itself, the creek running down below. All of this has been scorched to the ground. There was no bushes. You could see no bushes out here. This was the Mount Doom at the top of me and my dad and my mom had hiked up to in some of the first quest videos. So if you refer back to those, you can actually see this barren and us trying to replant it with buckeyes and stuff. Down below here, see, there was more flowers in this particular canyon about a week ago, and now the little creeks down here have started to dry out because we didn't get that much rain, but there's still flushings of poppies and forget-me-nots, and so we should head further down the canyon. It'll be windy after this, I won't be able to film, and then we'll be turning on a left onto the Snell Valley, which is only about a half a mile through the twists. It's not a real long canyon. If it wasn't a canyon, you could see the other end of it, but it just cuts through this mountain range, hill range, one of the forks of the coastal range here. This is actually all a serpentine uplift, Mount Cobb, Mount Canocta right over there. So you have now turned on the Snell Valley Road. This being Snell Valley. It's a very small valley, and out here is the flower preserve. But, I repeat, none of this beginning property is public land. Do not go across this creek onto this land. These are ranchers, these are actual ranchers, neighbors, people that I've associated with for years, and they're very serious about keeping people off of. This whole beginning stretch is private property. Do not trespass over these fences. They actually don't appreciate people coming out. They've had people climb over the fences thinking that this is flower preserve. That's made them, I don't want to say hostile, but aware that it's flower season, and they're watching the fence lines. And as much as you get out here and become awestruck and overwhelmed by the amount of flowers in these first few fields, please don't jump the fences. This is an actual working horse ranch. They have packs of wild stallions out here, male horses, bulls, the whole deal. They're responsible for keeping you safe, and they don't want you out wandering around on this land. And if you continue about a quarter mile further on, there's a spot where you are allowed to park. And get out and sniff the flowers. All along the roadside here though, beautiful, beautiful colors. It's worth looking at, just don't cross this fence line. So even here, this is still private property on either side of the road. There are spots where you can park and get out, and so we're gonna sniff these flowers. I wanted to show you the old Weatherwax ranch here, but I didn't want to film too much. It's beautiful, but you're probably in scope, you know, so they could probably see me while I'm filming and stuff, so I don't want to make you paranoid. This is my disclaimer and my common sense warning to all people who might visit. Other than that, let's just enjoy the flowers. Look at these lupins, it's insane. These are horse pastures, these have horses in them constantly, and that's one of the reasons why the flowers are here, is because the horses actually graze and take down the grasses and stuff, and then the more bitter tasting flowers and stuff remain. So horses are one of the livestock that's actually really good for flowers. This is an actual working horse ranch, and it's one of the spots in California that has the most variety of flowers that you'll see. So, and just a little ways down here is the actual preserve. There's signs that don't say no trespassing, they say Snell Valley Preserve. Those are the ones that you'll know where you're at. If you don't see those signs, you're not there yet. As you get down to the next little opening of valleys, this whole side on this side is flower preserve. And wow, I mean, I know I'm driving along here. We're gonna go ahead and pull out at the parking lot, and then I like to walk up the creeks and the bare rocky spots for access. And I'm shooting through a car window here with bugs all over it, but just wow. So let's go ahead and get out and do this. This is how you'll know you're here. So this, basically the field on that side. I'm gonna try and pan slowly, and then we're going in for close-ups. That's purple lavender flowers that you see, yellow flowers, everything. I'm gonna show you close-ups on this, but this whole field to the back fence line there, basically the brush line, over to the edge of those trees, just this little square here, over to the creek, out to beyond the creek. And then down at this end of it, there's not a delineation fence, but the people who live there have put up some signs in their field facing out this way, so you know that you're reaching the boundary of it. And this is the main parking lot, basically. Let me show you the signs. These are new this year, and I think it's kind of cool because there's another one out there. And they talk about the different types of flowers, the rules, all that kind of stuff, how they've been tending it. Look, some of our volunteers. And yeah, right now in this field, so let me just say that it's a dry year, but even in a dry year, things get off. But this is dry, this is bone dry. And so sometimes there will be more waves in a field when it's wetter, of course, but it is still going off, and it's actually keeping the grass from bolting up, so it's a give and take. See the little violet blushes on the edge of these? So I think that we will go and look at the far field, because it seems to be the one that's exploding right now. And there's some things that are going to fade out here before others do. So let's go get some close-ups of those. The lavenders of those far fields. Not lavender, the flower, just the color. Got both types of poppies out here. The frying pan poppy. See the two tones to it? The darker inside, the lighter outside. And they'll often open up to be less of a cup and more of a four-petaled thing. And then there's the California poppies, which are a way more darker orange. I hope the sound is okay. Look at these lavender, teal colored. So you can see that flowers like what we would call more barren soil. It's barren because it's not hosting as much grass. There isn't as much nutrients, so grass has a harder time, and that's where the flowers don't have to compete. Their seeds are very light sensitive. Each flower has its trick for knowing when. It's usually the conditions that dictate the growth and the blooming. A plant wants to get to be as big as it can before it puts out its seeds, but then when it senses that its survival time is reaching an end because of water or nutrients or all the conditions, it finishes off and it goes into bloom. Moved up to the battlefields of the blue, pink, and yellow. The battle of 5 armies. Beautiful dark green sedge grass mixing in here too. The other side of the creek is equally fantastic. Oh, there's owl clovers and stuff as we go farther in here. So many special flowers, I can't wait to show you these. That is just mass. Wait till you see those, they're like snapdragon family, but in a stack. I hope that the colors, sometimes cameras do not actually pick up the brightness of color. Nature is really sometimes has a brighter, more unrealistic palette than what the camera wants to accept is happening, or the lens can capture something. So for those of you that are still sticking around by this point watching this video, you must really be flower lovers. And don't worry, everything will be okay. No matter how bad it looks, flower power. You gotta remember flower power. That's why good always wins. I can pretty much promise you that. And flowers, for some reason, just really like to grow in the hardest conditions. They're kind of like the pioneer spirit. They don't mind putting up with the harder places to live. They'd rather do that than compete. Let's go look at these pink owl clovers here. Okay, just following the creek through, not leaving any footprints and stabbing in here and there. Look at the blue of that. This is larger of the lupin. And the field is just absolutely buzzing with life. Look in the background here. Look at these colors mixing together, just the yellow and the pink, like two armies that met mid-field, and now they're in skirmish before us. Look at that. Just mixing it up. So here we have crept up to where we have the lilac colors and the yellows, the deep purple blues, the pink clovers. So for all of you out there who are waiting for the flowers, here's the flowers. I have been waiting too. I'm never sure who wants to watch a whole video of just flowers, but for those of you who do, thank you for experiencing this with me, because I drive by it every day and it drives me crazy. Everything mixed in. Again, supposedly the largest variety left in California in one place. And I would believe it. This is just what's all appearing together in this wave. Look at this mix up. for all the locals, honestly, I am just tiptoeing up the creek and then getting up over the edge here a little bit. And I'm not trampling it all down before anybody else can see it, don't worry. I promise I care also. Oh, we're getting a battery signal, so that means that I've shot a lot more than the 10-minute video that I was going to show you of this particular area. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed. People talk about honeybees as the pollinators and butterflies. Just living out here has shown me that I could show you 30 different things flying around right now, and each one is pollinating. And I'm not talking any of the butterflies or any of the normal honeybees. I mean, I recognize the orchard bees, but there are things moving around too small for my eyeballs to even see. There are things that look like flies. I mean, I would think that they were a fly, but they're not, or they might be. You know, the difference between fly and bee and the varieties, I don't know, it gets confusing, but there are so many things flying around. The entire meadow is just abuzz with the tiniest little things. Who knows what plant each little particular bug needs? That's what worries me as we do things, as we remove whole species for whatever reasons, you know. The safety of humans and human needs are important. I am constantly worried about the ecosystem and the food chain. I just have to say it, because I've seen each thing need its thing that it feeds on, and everything need each other. So I don't know how it works when you remove all the lower things. Anyhow, I really hope that you enjoyed this little wander through the flowers with me. I enjoyed showing you. And if we get enough moisture for more varieties to pop off, we'll definitely come and film some more. And these roads out here, all the way out through Lake Berryessa, everywhere that I've been in California so far this year is looking intense. And this flower preserve should definitely be on a bucket list for people who love flowers, and hopefully it'll always be here. Okay, so that's it for now. I'm gonna go home farther this way. And yeah, there's rocks out there too. There are.